Ciao, today we are going to Raiatea, the cradle of Polynesian culture. It was the first inhabited island and the starting point for expansion into the Pacific. To do this, we will have to pass over the lagoon of Bora Bora, on the side we did not visit in the previous video. And as you can see, from whichever perspective you look at it, Bora Bora is still a true paradise on Earth. Many stories relate the creation of the world. For Polynesians, one only lasted through the ages, the story of Taroa. Born from the void and covered in feathers, he created Papawhenua, the country of the Maui. One day, he decided to survey his creation and landed in Hawaii. His foot hit the ground in Vaearai. It was here that the Polynesians raised up the first marae, a sanctuary for the worship of his all-powerfulness. The marae were social and religious places. Here were celebrated the gods and their glory. On these sacred grounds, the Polynesian canoes were built to navigate and explore faraway horizons. The first men left under the protection of Tumararai Whenua. The 8 tentacles of the octopus indicated the navigation routes with at its center, Hawaii, now known as Raiatea. As time passed, the Marae Taputapuatia remained the religious and political center of the Polynesian Triangle. Voyagers returned to visit their family and honor their ancestors. The legend of the sacred water of Raiatea says that there was a sacred water spring that flowed through a sacred tree called Omori. Only priests were allowed to draw water from this spring for religious ceremonies. One day, a young warrior named Hiro fell in love with a young girl named Haina, who frequented the sacred water spring. Despite the warnings of the priests, Hiro took water from the Mori to give to his beloved, but was immediately discovered and judged. The wrath of the gods struck the island with a great storm, but the inhabitants realized their mistake and offered sacrifices to appease the gods. The spring of sacred water was then made accessible to all, not just the priests, as a sign of divine forgiveness. The Apatahi tiara is a rare flower species endemic to the island of Raiatea. It is also known as the princess flower, as legend has it that the Princess Apatahi fell madly in love with a common man, and when her father, the king, discovered their relationship, he condemned them to death. In place of the princess, a pure white flower bloomed on the mountain Te as a symbol of eternal love. The Tiara Apatahi is considered a national treasure in French Polynesia, and its harvest is strictly regulated to protect its survival. Taputaputia is a cultural landscape and seascape on Raiatea Island. Raiatea is at the center of the Polynesian Triangle, a vast section of the Pacific Ocean dotted with islands, the last part of the globe to be settled by humans. At the heart of the property is the Taputaputia Marae Complex, a political, ceremonial, funerary and religious center. The complex is positioned between the land and sea on the end of a peninsula that juts into the lagoon surrounding the island. Marae are sacred ceremonial and social spaces that are found throughout Polynesia. In the Society Islands, marae have developed into quadrilateral paved courtyards with a rectangular platform at one end, called an ahu. They have many simultaneous functions. At the center of the Taputaputia Marae complex is Marae Taputaputia itself, dedicated to the god, Oro, and the place where the world of the living, Teao, intersects the world of the ancestors and gods, Tepo. It also expresses political power and relationships. The rise in the importance of Taputapuati among the Marae on Raiatea and in the wider region is linked to the line of Tamatoa Ariai, chiefs, and the expansion of their power. Taputapuati was the center of a political alliance that brought together two widespread regions encompassing most of Polynesia. The alliance was maintained by regular gatherings of chiefs, warriors, and priests who came from the other islands to meet at Taputapuati. The building of outrigger canoes and ocean navigation were key skills in maintaining this network. A traditional landscape surrounds both sides of the Taputaputia Marae complex. The Marae complex looks out to Te Ava Moe, a sacred pass in the reef that bounds the lagoon. Atramotu is an islet in the reef and a habitat for seabirds. Ocean-going arrivals waited here before being led through the sacred pass and formally welcomed at Taputaputia. On the landward side, Poe and Hotopuyu are forested valleys ringed by ridges and the sacred mountain of Tietapu. The upland portions of the valleys feature older marae, such as Marae Vairai and Marae Tornriari, agricultural terraces, archaeological traces of habitations and named features related to traditions of gods and ancestors. Vegetation in the valleys is a mix of species, some endemic to Raiatea, some common to other Polynesian islands, and some imported food species brought by ancient Polynesians for cultivation. The tour of Raiatea, and some of its legends, ends here. In the next episode, we return to Tahiti and, on the way, we will discover a mysterious island. If you appreciate my video, like it and, even better, subscribe to the channel, so you will be informed about upcoming trips. Thank you for watching this video.